Hey, this is Robert from Virtual Studio Set, and today we're going to be looking at the Global News Adobe After Effects template. This template works with Adobe After Effects all the way back to the CS3 version and above, so if you have the latest CC version, then this file will open just fine for you. Basically, this is a studio background that you can use to quickly put a talent into this news scene. You just film them on a green screen, and then you put them in a placeholder, which puts them right into the scene. So let me just jump right into it. I'm going to clear this out and then open up the project again from scratch. And so when the project first opens, it asks to convert from the older version, CS3 version, to the latest version of After Effects. And so just click OK. And prior to that, the file that you'll download will be a zip file. And so just uncompress that zip file, copy it into any folder that you want on your computer, and then you can open up the Adobe After Effects template file that comes with the project. When you open up your project, you'll see that you have three main views, and these are the different angles of the set. And we have a placeholder for our talent here, and that placeholder is mirrored in each different angle of the set. So if you replace that this placeholder with your footage, then that'll replace on each of the different angles of the set, which this allows you to switch between the different views. So you could start with a center view, and then you could switch to the left or the right view without having to retime or add the talent into the shot. So the first thing that most people do is add their talent layer into the scene. And the way you do that is in the folders here, we have different sections that you can edit. And so we have our footage, monitors, and talent folder. And then we have our edit text and lower thirds folder. We have our final renders folder, which is view 1, view 2, and view 3. And then we have our animated monitors right there, which this is an animated monitor that comes down right there. So to get to the talent shot, we'll basically just go inside this footage, monitors, and talent folder and find the talent composition, double click it, and you'll see that we have a full standing placeholder here for your talent shot. And what you'll want to do is basically just import your footage. So I'm going to import this one, which is shot from kind of the torso up. I'm going to import her into our project just by dragging and dropping. And then I'm going to drag and drop that piece of footage into the scene right there. Move my time slider back until we're over the talent shot. And you can see she's right there. First thing obviously we have to do is remove that green screen in After Effects. Very easy. Just go to, with the layer selected, with your piece of footage selected, go to Effect, Keying, and Key Light. And once you've applied the key light effect, then just inside the effects controls window, come down to screen color, choose the eyedropper, and sample the green in your scene. And you can see that takes away a good bit of this of the green screen. But if you look closely, you can actually see a little bit of this kind of nasty stuff that's still in there. And what we can do to kind of adjust that, to remove it, is to go to this view setting and change from final result to screen map, and that's just going to show you just the portion that is being matted out by the key light effect. And then we can go to the screen map drop down, and we can adjust the black and the white clip settings to add or remove more of that green in the scene. So we can kind of remove a little bit, just that a little bit. And there we go. And so now we'll change that back to final result. And you can see that she's kind of in the scene, and we've got a little better job. I'd probably spend a little more time on it if it just wasn't for this tutorial. But you can see that it does a pretty decent job of removing that green in the scene. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale and position our clip so that it matches our placeholder here. And the way I'm going to do that is underneath your source footage, I'm going to drop down the settings for that piece of footage, go down to the transform setting, and change the scale and position to match the placeholder image fairly closely. So about right there is probably fine. And now that I've got my talent in place of the placeholder, I'm just going to hide the placeholder footage by clicking the eyeball on that layer, and that will hide that piece of footage. So if I go back to any of the views, we should see our talent. Now I'll increase the resolution there so it'll look a little better. You'll see our talent in the shot and in the scene. So if we go to view 2, and same thing on view 1, like so. If you'd like to have a full body shot of your talent on the screen, we've actually got that built in as well. So we have these 2 different talent shots in each scene. What you'll want to do is hide the torso and up talent shot and unhide the other talent shot, which is from feet all the way up. And when you go into your talent composition, you'll want to have your full body chroma key footage in the scene. And so let me just show you what that might look like with this piece of footage that I've got. So I'm going to bring this down, and this particular piece of footage I'm going to crop out everything I don't need. There. And so now I'm going to apply the key light keying effect. Use the eyedropper to select the green in the scene. And then I'm going to scale her up a little bit to match my placeholder. And then I'll turn off the placeholder. And now if I go back to the scene, you'll see that we have our talent shot standing inside of the scene like so. And the camera moves and everything still work just as well. So if we zoom out, zoom in, we've got our camera moves and everything. And same thing too with the talent shot. It goes across all of the different views and all the different final renders. So when you switch between the different views, then you'll see your talent shot. So we could switch from a full body shot where we have a little bit of an intro. So maybe we zoom in, boom, we have the intro, and then we could switch to the next shot of the talent continuing to report on whatever it is. And but it's a little bit tighter shot, and we've got maybe a torso and up shot, but it's still the same shot. So it's kind of nice to have the flexibility of using one talent shot, but having it in multiple compositions so that you can just switch between them in the final edit. All right. Generally, the next thing that people want to do is change the text that shows up in the lower thirds here. And we actually have 2 different lower thirds that you can choose from for this set. And so if you in each of the final scenes, you'll notice at the very top there are 2 layers. They're both red layers, and those are both the lower third layers in the scene. And so you can turn those on and off, and then you can change the text in them independently. So let's do that. Let's go to Project. And then we'll go to the Edit Text in Lower Thirds section. And then we will go to Edit Text Lower Third. Let's see, this is Lower Third 02. So we'll do an Edit Text on Lower Third 02. And then we have some different compositions here. So we have our the Lower Third logo, which is the spinning globe here. So if I double click that, this is just the isolated globe. So you could add another logo, and it would update whatever shows in this area right there. And then you have your lower third text, which is your main text right there. And so we'll change that like so. That. Put in our time and date there, or if you don't want to have that kind of information there, you can just hide that layer. And you can see it updates, and it'll actually update throughout the whole project. So we'll have view 1, view 2, and view 3 will all be updating as well. And then we also have this ticker text down at the very bottom. This is just some text that scrolls. So this could be upcoming news items and other information, or you can just turn it off by hiding that layer. And it shows right down there, and it automatically animates. And basically that's the same thing that you do for the other lower third. So we've got lower third 01, and you just go into the edit lower third 01 folder, and we've got the earth animation, got the logo and the globe, we've got text that we can update, and then the main lower third composition itself. So very easy to update and quickly make changes to. You can also, let's see, if you go back into the lower third 02, we have our logo here. So you can easily go in there, and if you want to change that color to something else, you could go to something like Effect, Color Correction, maybe Tritone, and then you could change this color to purple or red, green, whatever you want to do there, and that'll update in there as well. So you can apply different color corrections to different pieces in the lower thirds. You can add, remove. You can basically just make them your own, however you want them to look. So that's kind of neat. The final thing that most people need to update is this text in the background here. It's kind of a scrolling text. You can see that goes in the background, and you can get to that by going to the Edit Text folder. And you have an edit text for the center angle, the left angle, and the right angle. So that you can have, if you want to, you can have different text, or you can just go through and make the same text. If you open up the edit text right angle composition, you'll see that you have two layers. If you unhide these layers, then you'll see that you have two text boxes here. This is the text that drives the text that shows in this scrolling area right here. You can actually unhide that text layer by clicking on this hidden layers button, and you can see that they show up right here and here. But for simplicity's sake, we have those hidden, and then you can just edit the text inside of these and then hide them back again, and you can render out your project. So if I unhide them and make changes to the text, I can just type in whatever I want here. And if I hit enter, you'll see that it changes the content up in the scrolling area right there to match whatever content I have in here. To get kind of a full loop, you want to have about 5 lines of content, but don't worry if your content isn't quite that long. You can just copy and paste it until it gets down to about 5 lines, and then that will fill up all of the area for and that'll fill up the text content on that loop. And so basically you can just go in here and change both text items to say whatever you want it to say, and they will just kind of loop in the background there a little bit. You can also turn them off if you want to. So like I said, this little hidden layer icon right there, that'll unhide the layers that are hidden, and you can turn them off or turn them on, or just turn on the top one if you want to, so that you just have text up here, or you can just turn them off completely, so you have them there. One other thing is that sometimes the render can take a bit of time when you've got the text on, just because it's got some drop shadows and some glow effects and that kind of thing. If that ends up being the case in your studio, one possible option is to render out this text by itself, and then bring it in as its own composition, so that you don't have to keep re-rendering the same thing. So you can just basically isolate the text, render it out, and then loop it over and over again in your background, so that you don't have to keep on rendering it, and that'll increase your render speed. The next thing that most people want to update is the content that shows up in these animated monitors and the stationary monitors. And in each scene, you'll notice that we have these compositions right here. They're all in yellow. So they're all color-coded as yellow. And these are the different monitors that you can add to the scene. So we have a sideways monitor, like that. We have a left animated and a right animated and a center animated monitor. And you can move these if you want to. You can position them wherever you want them. You could have more than one monitor. So if you wanted to have left and a right monitor, then you could do that. And you could always change the ordering of your talent as well. And so your talent could go on top of the monitors. So you could do something like that to have two monitors and not have them be in front of her face and whatnot. So to change the content that shows up in these monitors, you'll basically just go to the Footage Monitors Talent folder, click the Footage Monitors, and you'll see that we have a placeholder for animated content for the sideways monitor, the animated monitor content. You'll see that we have Footage Monitor 01 and Footage Monitor 02. And you see that those are the background monitors, the background footage that we have in the background, and then kind of reflecting in the floor as well down there. So to change that content, basically just open up the composition. So for the animated monitor content, we have our animated monitor content. It's all labeled and everything so you can see what it is. And then basically just import your content and place it, in this composition, and then turn off the other layers. So let me show you how to do that. So I'll import this animation, and then I'll drag it into the scene, and then I'm just going to hide those two layers so that we don't see them anymore. And you'll see that the footage shows up. It actually changes perspective. So if it's 3D, it's going to be kind of 3D in the monitor itself. And then you'll also see that each monitor, except the sideways monitors, has already been updated in the scene. For the sideways monitor, same thing. So you go to Footage Monitors, and then you find the one that's Animated Content Sideways Monitor, and then you import your footage like so. And then you could rotate this if your footage isn't already rotated. Like that. And then in your scene, if I turn on the sideways animated monitor, you'll see that the content shows up in that monitor right there. Like so. So the next thing that most people want to do is add or change the background content in this area back here. We have a little, we have a motion graphic that's kind of already going back there, and it's a loop, and you're more than welcome to use it. You basically just go to the Footage Monitors Talent folder, and you go to Footage Monitor 01 and 02, right there. And then if you just want to use this background animation, then you can just turn off that text right there and use it. Or if you want to import your own, then you can just bring your own in and hide the rest of them. Like so, and you'll see that the animation shows up in the background here, and then it also reflects in the floor right there. And then we've got this animation that shows up back here, and that is Footage Monitor 02. So we could always just drag this in, and then we can just drag this one in. Same thing. And now we've updated the footage that shows up in this monitor right there. Another interesting feature that we have in this studio is we have some preset camera animations that are built into the studio, and you'll find those in each of the final render scenes. We've got camera 1 through 4, and they're all blue coded, and so all you've got to do to turn on the cameras is basically to unhide it or to hide the one above it. So if we go down to camera 1, we turn off all the other cameras and we use camera 1, then our camera is going to do this. So basically this is just a static camera that doesn't move inside the scene at all. If we go to camera 2, turn off the sideways monitor for right now. And you can see camera 2 kind of starts off closer to the screen and zooms out like that. Camera 3 starts on the right hand side of the studio and zooms out. And camera 4 zooms out but kind of does a little bit of a rotation as it comes into the scene, just like that. Like there. So camera 1, just to go over them again, camera 1 is a static camera. Camera 2 is a zooms in from the left. Camera 3 zooms in from the right. And camera 4 zooms in from the center but does a little bit of a rotational pull as it comes in. Like that. So that's pretty much all of the Global News After Effects template. You can really get in there and make this template your own, adjust some of the way the layers work, and really just add to it, subtract from it, really to make it unique to your project. If you have any questions, feel free to jump on the site virtual-studio-set.com. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have, and thanks for watching.